What is up, my fellow card nerds? I've got a pretty funny update for you all today regarding that PSA vending machine we covered a couple of videos ago. Shortly after releasing that thing, I discovered something, fairly interesting that is incredibly laughable and, highlights some of the concerns I raised in that video about what, these companies are doing that is so amateur of them that is going to expose them down the line if a third party or a regulator was to come in and take a look at this situation, because it's a really funny thing and it probably exposes a heck of a lot. So I want to unpack that today and hear what, you guys have to say down below. Now, if you're not sure what video I'm talking about, it's this one over here where we spoke about, a PSA branded vending machine that wasn't owned by them. It's co-branded by them in a Vegas casino. I believe it was the Plaza. And you'd go there, you'd pay $50, you get a mystery box out of it, and it has, some Pokemon cards in there. Now, like you can sort of see on screen, there's a big PSA Charizard on the side of the machine that implies you can hit that thing in the vending machine itself. Now, a lot of people raise questions around this in the first place, whether or not that was actually obtainable, what it actually means for the contents of that thing, what the heck is going on here. But the thing I found, really quickly after posting that video, now keep in mind I recorded it about 12 hours before I released it, maybe a bit more, is that the certification for this PSA card is actually not currently certified by PSA, which is hilarious. You've basically got a machine branded by them with a Charizard on there that sort of implies that's the chase card for that mystery box. Maybe somewhere on the machine it doesn't say that's possible, but you've got a huge vending machine, this giant Charizard on the side of the thing saying, you know what, come find me kind of thing. And it's not actually certified. As you can see on screen, if you type this cert in by yourself onto PSA's website, the certification number provided has been temporarily deactivated as a precaution due to its use on a known counterfeit in the market. Please contact the customer request center if you own the item. So PSA would typically do this if a card has been counterfeit multiple times, it gets flagged to them as being fake and all that kind of thing. They decertify it for that exact reason. Now, to cut them some slack, this thing could have been decertified after the vending machine was made and after the thing was branded. But that still raises a few questions. The first thing would be, well, if this card is actually the chase card within, this vending machine, why has PSA maybe not had the foresight to contact the company that facilitates this vending machine and said, we need to shut this thing down because that thing is no longer certified. Our name is on this. We're branding this thing. This doesn't look good for us because we don't want somebody to get their hands on something that is fake, right? We don't want a customer to get burned. Well, the second question, probably the most alarming of the two, in my opinion, is if that Charizard's not actually in there in the first place, i.e. it's not a problem to make sure the cert is correct or to put a correct Charizard on there because the thing isn't obtainable anyway. That's a big problem in my opinion. You've basically got this big machine branded with this giant Charizard on there that is not obtainable. It's like, guys, that's a bit fraudulent in my opinion. Maybe not, intentionally, but you've got people that are sort of seeing that and inherently thinking they're going to hit that card. That seems very deceptive. Now, there could be T's and C's on the machine that says that thing is not obtainable. There could be an FAQ thing on the machine itself. I don't have an answer to that just yet, but when I see a machine like that and I see a giant PSA 10 on the side, I'm thinking, well, that's the thing I can try and chase, right? They're putting it there because that's the thing I can chase. And if it's not obtainable, have that wording, bigger on the machine somewhere. And if it's not PSA's problem and it's the machine, the company that, is facilitating the machine, well, then again, PSA need to go back to them and say, guys, this is not a good look for us. You need to protect, your brand and stand for something, in my opinion. And sort of having something there that inherently makes people think they're going to chase that card is a bit of a problem. And you guys might say, well, people are dumb for thinking that, but go back and watch those videos from those Casino Kings guys. They're talking about trying to chase that card itself because they see it on the side of the machine. They think it's in there. It's just a, really messy situation. I would have thought that PSA or a company with common sense would have put something on the side that basically said, this is not obtainable, or if it is, make it pretty clear what it is, or if it's not, or it's a different version of that card, or it's hard because, you're going to put multiple PSA 10s in there. Once one get hit, you want to replace it, all that kind of thing. We'll put something on the side that basically covers up the cert number. So you've got that, leeway for situations like this where mistakes happen. That's not too hard to ask, in my opinion. I think it's pretty laughable and goes to the things I've talked about before where, companies do this really amateur stuff, and that's where the eyes come from. I referenced last time, is regulation coming? Because what these companies in this space don't want is the unwanted eyes, a government looking at it or a different third party looking at it and saying, you guys need to fix all this kind of thing. And now all of a sudden you've got a machine flat bang in the middle of a casino, and it's going to get a lot more eyes on it. People are going to start researching and start looking into things a bit further. And now you've gone ahead and got a card displayed on the side of the vending machine that is decertified at best, that is actually in there that obviously raises concerns now for a customer that hits it, or at worst, it's not in there and you're displaying it like it actually is, which is, you know, absolutely insane to me. And I sort of see stuff like this as being a bit of a domino, right? You've got, you know, all this amateur stuff that happens in this space when it comes to breakers and how companies hold them accountable and how scammers are operating in this space and sort of the issues we're getting with print runs and quality of cards themselves and all these other, you know, crap, right? You look at it all and it's like, well, that could be better, that could be better, that could be better, that could be done better. And it just never ends. So what's going to happen to tip these things over in the first place? You know, something is going to happen at some point. And that's what I was sort of referring to when it comes to regulation and why these companies need to fix it themselves before somebody else does it for them. Because when somebody does it for them, they're going to push those dominoes down and they're going to raise, you know, issues with literally every single stream we're seeing in this space. And these are things I've been talking about for multiple years. I remember in the comments, people were laughing at me 2 or 3 years ago when the whole baseball card exchange thing happened. I've referenced that many times with the 86 Fleer box and then also, you know, the Logan Paul situation. The Logan Paul situation in of itself told me there were significant issues with how BBC operated and some concerns about, you know, what it is they actually do and whether or not they know what they're doing. Now that is just my opinion, but when you see mistakes like that happen, it's like, guys, what else is happening? And then you look across the industry and it's just across the board. Repackers, breakers, trading card companies, graders. It's just an absolute mess. There are so many issues in this space, and I've been saying it for multiple years, like I just alluded to. These companies in this space continually want to charge us more and more money because they see the industry as being multi-billion-dollar now, a lot bigger than it was in the past. Yet the customer service we get from them, the value we get from them, has not been uplifted to match the amount of money we're now paying. It is so amateur, all these things that we're seeing, and all it's going to take, like I said, is one little thing to come in, like regulation, right? It's probably really far-fetched to happen. If something like that was to come in, you're going to see drastic change across this industry, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better because these companies are not going to be able to keep up, in my opinion. And again, you guys will say I'm too negative, too tinfoil, whatever it is. I'm not wrong when I say that. And again, that's just my opinion, but just looking at all these things, looking at all these mistakes, something's going to break eventually. And it's just amateur behavior across the board. And people will say, well, Daniel, why do you participate in this hobby? Collecting cards is fun. I can like collecting cards. I can have fun collecting cards, trading with mates, talking to you guys on the internet. But that does not mean the hobby is as good as it could be. So me calling out these companies and asking them to be more accountable, to be better, is not hating on the hobby because the hobby is fun. We don't need to talk about that because everybody knows that. That's why, you know, you collect cards in the first place. Now, mini rant aside, I put out a video earlier today for my regular Tuesday video. It's copped no views, but if you are interested in watching me fish, please do check it out. I had a bit of fun. It goes for about 18 minutes, so it is a bit long. I rip a box of the Upper Deck Shang-Chi trading card set, the hobby box, and caught a few fish. I caught a few PBs, so if you haven't seen it, please do check it out if you are keen. And if you're not, please also do check it out because, you know, one of the things I cop on this channel quite a lot is that I'm too negative, which I've always found absurd. But this is sort of case in point where, you know, people clearly come to me now to get certain information. I'm happy to talk about this sort of stuff because I do it unbiased and I want to, you know, help as many people as possible. And these guys will say, well, do more positive stuff. But like I've said, everyone does positive stuff. 99% of the content is positive. When I try and do something a bit different, people don't like it. So, you know, it is what it is. If you want to check it out, that's awesome. If you don't, that's okay too. I will be doing more of these. I want to keep it as a series because I think it is a bit of fun. Basically do some fishing, rip some boxes and, you know, talk some smack. So, you know, check it out if you're keen. If not, all good. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.